It was the kind of scene whispered about in luxury circles. A sprawling white mansion stood on the edge of the city, its tall glass windows reflecting the golden morning sun, but behind those windows, chaos brewed. Every nanny who had stepped into that house had left within days, some in tears, others vowing never to return. The millionaire's twin boys, just 6 years old, had been labeled unmanageable by every childcare agency in town. Their father, Adrian Kingsley, a powerful business magnate, had all the wealth in the world but no peace inside his home. The boys had lost their mother when they were barely toddlers, and with each new nanny, they tested limits, pushed boundaries, and made sure no one could replace the love they'd lost. That morning, yet another nanny stormed out of the front door, muttering that she had seen enough. Adrian stood there, frustrated and exhausted, wondering how two small children could create such a storm that no adult could handle. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of understanding even the most broken hearts, then take a moment right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to Kindness Corner for more inspiring stories that show how compassion can change everything. That same afternoon, a woman named Mariah stepped up to the mansion's towering gates. She wasn't a professional nanny. She was a maid, applying for a housekeeping job. Her uniform was simple, her eyes a little tired, and her hands carried the quiet strength of someone who had worked hard all her life. The agency had sent her because, frankly, no one else was willing to take the job. When she entered the house, she noticed more than just the luxury, she noticed the silence, unnatural in a home with two young boys. She saw Adrian in his immaculate suit, explaining in a clipped tone that her job was to clean, not to interfere. But Mariah's eyes wandered to the staircase, where two little faces peeked out, their eyes full of suspicion. From the first moment, the twins tested her. They knocked over vases, poured juice on the freshly mopped floor, and hid her cleaning supplies. Most would have scolded them, but Mariah didn't. She saw the mischief for what it was, a cry for attention, a test to see if she too would leave like everyone else. At night, she heard them talking to each other in whispers, their voices small and uncertain, asking if she would leave tomorrow. That was the moment something shifted inside her. She decided she wouldn't just clean the house, she would try to reach the hearts hiding behind all that defiance. Days turned into weeks. Mariah didn't fight the boys' mischief with anger, she fought it with patience. She learned that the older twin, Ethan, would act tough but secretly collected his mother's old scarves, keeping them under his pillow. The younger twin, Liam, would get into trouble to hide the fact that he couldn't sleep at night without a lullaby. Mariah began to quietly do things no one had taken the time to do before. She'd leave little notes in their lunch boxes, simple words like, "You're stronger than you think," or, "Your mom would be proud." She started cooking meals the boys liked, even if it meant extra work. She found ways to include them in her chores, turning cleaning into little games so they could feel important instead of ignored. Adrian began to notice changes he couldn't explain. The boys, who used to slam doors and refuse to come to dinner, now came to the table willingly when Mariah called. Their laughter, which had once been rare and short-lived, now filled the halls. For the first time in years, the mansion didn't feel like a cold, echoing building, it felt like a home. But Adrian still didn't fully understand how Mariah was managing what no professional nanny could. One evening, he came home early from work, and what he saw left him frozen at the doorway. The boys were curled up asleep on the bed, one on each side of Mariah, who herself had dozed off while reading to them. The scene was so peaceful, so full of love, that for a moment, Adrian felt an ache in his chest he hadn't allowed himself to feel since his wife's passing. Despite the progress, Mariah's work wasn't easy. There were setbacks, days when the boys would retreat into silence, or moments when grief would bubble up in sudden outbursts. But she never walked away. She taught them to plant flowers in the garden, telling them that just like flowers, broken hearts needed care and patience to grow again. Slowly, the boys began to trust not only her, but themselves. Months passed, and one rainy evening, Adrian overheard something that brought him to tears. The twins were in their room, talking before bed. Ethan whispered, "Do you think Mariah will leave?" And Liam replied softly, "No, she's different. She's home." That single word, home, changed something in Adrian. He realized Mariah hadn't just taken care of his sons. She had given them back the love, stability, and hope they had lost. One weekend, Adrian asked Mariah to join him and the twins for breakfast. The boys were unusually excited, and halfway through the meal, Adrian announced that Mariah would no longer just be the maid. She was now officially their full-time caretaker, someone who was as much a part of the family as anyone could be. Tears welled in Mariah's eyes, but she smiled, knowing the real reward wasn't the title or position. It was seeing two little boys smile without fear of being left behind. If this story touched your heart and reminded you of the power of patience, kindness, and unconditional care, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs a reminder of hope, and subscribe to Kindness Corner for more stories that show the strength of compassion. Special request: before this video ends, I'd love for you to comment below, do you believe that love and patience can change even the hardest hearts? I can't wait to read your thoughts.